Hi, Zelaine. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me to discuss one of your students' behaviors. I know you mentioned that there is a problem behavior for the student. So I believe her name is Jamie that you referred to that needs a behavior intervention due to her lack of progress in her disruptive behavior. Can you describe your observations of this behavior?
Yes, of course. Jamie has been constantly speaking out of turn in the classroom by making humorous remarks. This causes disruption in my classroom as the rest of my students will begin to laugh and disengage from the current work. They are supposed to be completing it. However, once I'm able to redirect the rest of my classroom, Jamie will still not go back to her work immediately. It takes several instructions to get her to continue to work. This has affected her classroom and she has been falling behind on work completion. I am also not able to allocate my time to other students during this time.
I'm sorry to hear that. What does Jamie do that causes disruption in the classroom?
Well, most of the time, Jamie will make funny sounds or remarks when it's time for work.
Funny sounds. Like, can you give me an example of these funny sounds?
Well, I know this sounds silly, but she will make animal sounds such as meowing like a cat or mooing like a cow. Some things she will say are things like, "Ew, did someone fart? It smells like poo."
Oh, interesting. Well, thank you for clarifying what the funny sounds were. What else does Jamie do to disrupt the classroom? Is there anything else she does?
Oh, she will also make a mess on purpose and make a big show of it. She will knock over her books from her desk and yell, "Oh no, what have I done?" And the rest of the students will usually start laughing. You know, it's continuous disruption in the classroom.
Okay. Um, you mentioned that Jamie's falling behind and that you constantly need to remind her to complete her work. How exactly does this behavior look like? Like, what do you mean, like, that she's not completing her work?
Well, once the rest of the students go back to work, Jamie will sit at her desk and look around the classroom trying to talk to other students, sometimes asking for help for her work. I remind her to go back to work, and she will say she doesn't know how to do the work and will ask for help. However, she does know how to do the work, and she does not actually need help. She does proficient in most of her subjects. Every time I help her, she will understand the concept and has the skills to complete the work herself.
Okay. But how do you determine how if she's proficient at work? Like, how do you know she's proficient?
I will tell her to do a few problems on her own at her desk, and she can always ask for help, even after she tries herself. I will always be there to help her, of course, but she doesn't need my help, and I can tell because when she accurately completes the task, I've noticed that it's correct. It's completely correct where she never really needed help. So
Okay.
I find it odd that later she's asking for help. It's quite
Okay.
unusual.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Is there anything else that Jamie does that disrupts the class? Like anything else besides making comments or saying weird things?
No, this is all I can think of at the moment.
Okay. Out of all the behaviors that you just mentioned right now, which one do you think is more difficult to address in the classroom?
I think her acting out inappropriately with inappropriate sounds and comments, and those are the most difficult to manage because it kind of continues on with the rest of the class's environment.
Okay. So if I were to ask you to rate the behaviors from, let's say, 0 equals no problem to a 10 equals a severe problem, how would you prioritize the behaviors you just mentioned?
For making sounds and comments, I would rate those maybe around 9 or 10. For asking for help, that would probably fall into a 4, and making a mess will be a 7.
Okay. Um, Previously said that disruption occurs in the classroom. However, have you noticed that she does it in different areas in the classroom? Like, does this happen like when Jamie's only at her desk, or does she do it in any other areas in the classroom?
It is mostly when she is at her assigned seat, but sometimes she will get up and go to my desk to ask for help. She will also ask to leave her seat to sharpen a pencil and get a drink of water, or she will engage and then make sounds.
Okay. Have you noticed if these behaviors occur outside of the classroom, like not just like maybe in like recess or like anywhere else outside of the classroom?
I'm mostly not outside my classroom, throughout recess or lunchtime, but the staff haven't complained about it. I don't think it's nothing disruptive. They do note that Jamie is constantly surrounded by other peers making jokes, or she is usually taking or talking to another adult, showing off how high she can swing or how fast she can run, things like that.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Also, have her parents mentioned anything about this disruptive behavior in the home? Have they like complained about it at all?
I've talked to them. I have talked to her parents about the situation here in my classroom, and they seem a little confused. They don't understand where this reaction is coming from. She doesn't really do this at home, so they don't understand why she would be doing this at school. I haven't asked parents if they have seen Jamie do this behavior outside of school or home, to be exact.
Okay. That's good to know too. So it just seems like it's only happening in the classroom setting, which is really interesting. Let's talk about like what happens right before Jamie disrupts the class. Like, is there anything specific that happens right before? Is there any people or certain things that she's supposed to be doing?
No, nothing unusual. Nothing happens before she begins to disrupt the class. I normally just instruct the whole class to engage in quiet work or at their desk, and then I usually go to my desk to try and finish some work.
Okay, so you're saying that all the students are expected to be doing their independent work and sit at their desk without really getting attention, and you say that Jamie is constantly asking for help. Do you also see that your other students asking for help during this time?
Most of the time, I'm not attending the classroom, but do go to help the students who raise their hands. So I'm not giving attention to any student unless they need help. I'm not necessarily distracted or have them be distracted with other things. I only go to them if they need the help.
Okay. Let's see. So, what time of day does Jamie usually engage in disruption behavior? And what is she supposed to be doing instead?
It usually happens when I instruct the class to engage in quiet, independent work. I ask them if they complete their assigned work to continue reading silently until time is done. Jamie is supposed to be doing her work on her own time, and around that time, she ends up disrupting it.
All right. You also mentioned that, previously mentioned that when Jamie disrupts the class, that other students will laugh at her outbursts. And is there anything else that happens as a reaction to her making these outbursts, besides just laughing?
Yes, I usually tell the class to settle down, and I tell Jamie to get back to work, that it's not time to hang out with the friends. I usually have to go to Jamie's desk and have her take out her worksheet so she can start working on it. Sometimes it is really hard not to raise my voice at Jamie or show that I'm frustrated. As this happens quite often, I can't get any work done.
Okay. So you said that Jamie will disrupt the class by making inappropriate animal sounds or making absurd statements. During this time, she's not supposed to be getting attention, correct? And you're also not expecting other students to get attention. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. This has happened since the beginning of the school year.
Okay. How often would you say that Jamie disrupts the classroom?
Oh, I will say she disrupts the classroom at least 2 to 3 times a day. It usually happens during quiet work, which is hard. I have students engaging in any second or half of the day.
Oh, okay. How? Okay. So how long do you think, or how long would you say the behavior usually like lasts? Like how long will she be making these sounds or making these statements?
Oh, it will last until I'm able to redirect her. If I ignore her, it can last up for 3 minutes, I'm gonna say, until I have to tell her to stop. So other students can concentrate and finish their own work.
Okay, so you said that you're okay. So basically, you said that during this time you're not able to get any work done yourself as well, such as like grading students' homework, or that you're constantly spending your time redirecting Jamie. Is this also accurate?
Yes, yeah, that sounds about right. Some days are more challenging and stressful due to the constant attention required by Jamie, which is why I have reached out for help regarding her behavior.
Okay. I'm going to pause the interview really quick and then we'll get back to questions. Let me just restart this.